When it comes to forming your life team, you need trusted friendships. There's that word trust. It's a loaded one. So let's have this conversation. Hi, I'm Pastor Brenda. Really honored again to meet you in this space. I want to open up with a question. Do you think people get in the way of your goals? Or let me ask this other question. Do you want people to get in the way of your goals? Ponder that while I read this quote to you. This is from Freya, India. She is a young 20-something writer. I quote her a lot, so you may have heard of her before. But this is from her. I saw a tweet recently that was the perfect example of this. This young guy shared his Patrick Bateman-esque morning routine. Journaling, red light therapy, breath work, meditation, gym, ice bath, sauna, reading. All in perfect silence. No interruptions, no spontaneity. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but it's just not the kind of lifestyle you can have with other people around. Watching it, my first thought was, wow, if this is the ideal, no wonder young people are delaying marriage and delaying having children. We've been told that the meaning of life is self-actualization, to achieve some perfect state of mental health and productivity. Don't commit until you have perfect control. But I think that way of thinking will backfire, because the end point of trying to control everything is you become like a machine. Emotionally detached, hyperproductive, super efficient, and alone. And eventually you end up seeing other human beings as distractions, as annoyances. Other people become obstacles. For women, men become obstacles to our healing and mental health. For men, women seem like obstacles to their ambition and self-development, or vice versa. It all seems like an avoidance strategy to me, everyone trying very hard not to be vulnerable and get hurt. Maybe it's the hopeless romantic in me, but in my mind, you do all those things for love, for family. We try to heal, we work harder for our relationships, to build a more stable and reliable foundation for the people we care about. Isn't that the point? What's all this for otherwise? But now it seems like we're optimizing ourselves away from each other, hiding to heal ourselves, protecting our peace, so fiercely we end up alone. If you read the rest of the article, there's a link in the notes. This sounds like what we've been talking about, right? How there is a whole economy that is developed to keep us at home, to keep us alone. How they're selling AI to us. We don't need to ask people, we can just ask AI and find ourselves alone, protected and alone. And this whole self-actualization thing, till we're self-actualized, we won't invest into people. It's keeping us isolated and alone. And we're really not well. People are a part of our spiritual formation. This is why you need to create a life team. This is why we're talking about this, because you need people in your life. Here's a couple of reasons why. There's a new neuroscience called two-person neuroscience, or 2PN for short. This is where they're measuring our brain for the experience of connected synchrony. And this research is returning some amazing truth. When people watch a movie together, their brain's emotional responses synchronize. Even if you're in a theater full of strangers, your brains are all emotionally synchronizing to the strangers. We need people. Another study found that if 9 people are praying in a room together, from MRI and PET scans, their brains are entrained or synchronized together. When a 10th person enters in, his or her brain quickly entrains at the same rate. Simply sharing physical space with someone can be enough to synchronize our heartbeats together. Think about that. When you're with people, you're synchronizing yourself to them, or you're co-regulating yourself. This is why we need people, because we need to co-regulate each other. This is so good. And what's amazing to me is we as a church, we are kind of weird. We meet on Friday nights and we meet over Zoom. So many of us come across the miles. But here we are looking at faces and we are synchronizing. Everything we do as a church is synchronizing. We come in on a Friday night, hectic week, it's Friday afternoon, traffic, whatever. We come together 7 o'clock East Coast time and we open up together in a liturgical prayer. We're synchronizing our hearts by reading the same words together. Then we enter into a time of worship where we slow our heart rates down. We're singing words that are truthful, give you awe. We're synchronizing our hearts together. Then we do an opening prayer, and then we have a tough conversation. By the time we get to that conversation question, we're synchronized to each other so that we feel braver with our answers. We feel vulnerable to say something. We feel free to express a doubt that doesn't make sense, because we are synchronized to each other. Even though as a church, we're meeting over the miles. This is 2PN science. It's amazing. And it even works over Zoom. It works when you go to a church together. It works. I hope you're meeting tonight, watching this in your small group. You have already synchronized your hearts together. We need each other to co-regulate. People are a part of our spiritual formation. And yes, this is science and the Word of God. Now there's something also about faces. Again, when we are coming in through Zoom, we're looking at faces. Sometimes in church, you only get to see the back of people's heads. But in our church, you see faces. And when people are popping in, you're seeing expressions of joy as we're waving to them or saying hi to them or getting caught up in a side conversation. It happens every week because there's a face involved and there's a connection involved. Well, there's science to that also. So, back a while ago, we did a verse-by-verse study of Philippians. You can follow it right there. In this letter, Paul used joy almost as a comma throughout the whole epistle, the letter that he wrote to the Philippians. Like he wrote something that was teaching, a sentence about joy. Here's the comma. He would confront somebody, here's a sentence about joy. He would share a truth about Jesus, here's a sentence about joy. It was weaved all the way throughout this. And so in our church conversations, we came up with 3 aspects of joy that came out of the book of Philippians, and that just came out of life. And you'll see this. 1, joy involves faces. Joy is when you see another person's face is happy to be with you, or you think of these faces you love, sometimes in prayer, and you just become filled with joy. This turns out to be the neurological definition of joy. According to UCLA psychiatry, this is joy is what you experience when you can see another person's face and eyes that they are happy to be with you. Number 2, this is different than happiness because joy leads to a physical expression of joy, often a contagious expression. So like I said, we meet over Zoom. When someone pops in even late, there's a disruption of, hey, because there is joy that this person is there, that we're seeing their face. It's different than happiness because you're just like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. I want to hug you. I want to shake your hand. I jump up and down. When I see my grandkids who bring me great joy, there's this expression of smothering because I just have so much joy. Their faces give me so much joy. Makes sense, right? Number 3, being with like-minded people or faces leads to a more joy-filled life. Joy does not exist outside of relationship. I'll get more on that in a moment. Because the fourth thing we discovered at the end of our series, this one is profound and I can't get into it too much, but watch the series. Joy gives my life perspective. That's a good one. Okay, but joy does not exist outside of relationship. Joy must involve faces. You need people. You need to make your life team to have a joy-filled life. Isolated life, that self-actualization, not the same as seeing faces and being filled with that expression. So there's science revealed to this. There's a link below that describes the science better. I'm going to do a quick cursory overview, all right? The summary is the left brain action is commonly thought of as the mind. Left brain dominant functions are logical thinking, problem solving, strategies, language, cause and effect relationships, words to our experiences, planning, arguments formulated, truth defended. Some heavy stuff there. The right brain governs a whole range of relational life. Who we love, our emotional reactions to our surroundings, our ability to calm ourselves, our identity, both as individuals and as a community, manages our strongest relational connections, both to people and God, and character formation. The right brain action is continually scanning our surroundings, looking for people who are happy to be with us. And this is why the neurological definition of joy was created. So the amazing thing is here, our right brain works just a tick faster than our left brain. So when we are entering into a room or entering into a Zoom room, we're looking for faces who we know. And then we see a face who we know, and there's an expression of joy. And our right brain is registering, you're safe. Here's it's evaluating. Now you can go forth into the room and do some of that left brain work like cause and effect relationships or truth defended, or some of this tougher stuff. Because in this room, there's a face here that says, I see you. And it brings you joy. And that joy allows your left brain then to fully function and navigate the difficult parts of your life. If a face gives us comfort, our left brain can then figure out the rest of our lives. This is science, people. Think about this for a moment. And then think about this. An hour with one friend who knows all of my messy story can fill up my empty spaces more fully than the whole day spent with a room full of shiny acquaintances. You can't have joy without relationships. The faces on your life team will give you the joy to live this larger, braver life that your left brain is capable of doing, but you need these faces because you need to experience this joy to make those brave decisions. So then the question is, who are the faces we can trust? Again, back in June of 2023, you can check that series out here. We did a series on trust and betrayal. It's a pretty good one, by the way. Dr. Henry Cloud taught us these 5 essentials of trust. I'm going to just repeat them again. They go in order. They build on each other. So this is pretty important. Understanding. You can trust someone when you feel your needs are understood, felt, and cared about. Number 2, motive and intent. When you feel their motive is for you and not just for themselves. Again, are they a giver or a taker? We've talked about that back earlier in the series. Is there a motive for you? And you get to know that. But first, you've got to have understanding. 3, ability. You can trust someone when you feel they have the ability or capacity to guard and deliver results for you for what you have entrusted to them. Ability, this is an important one, and I don't want you to overlook this. Sometimes you can meet somebody and there's a click and you just feel like you could be friends, but you're at different stages of life. Maybe it's a young mother and she just doesn't have time to meet with an empty nester friend. The ability's just not there. You see, it's just is. It's kind of sad, but it just is. Or the ability is they're a taker and they just don't have it within them to become a friend. It's also part of this, okay? Number 4, character. The character or personal makeup needed for what you entrust them with. This goes back to this moral code we've been talking about throughout this series. What kind of moral code do they have? Does it match your character? This is the 4th one. You think that might be higher up, but this is the 4th one, because the 5th one is the track record. You can trust someone who has a track record of performing in the ways you need them to perform. This is the time. This is those hours that it takes to make a friend. I think we said earlier in the series, like 200 hours of vulnerable time to even get to the friendship level with somebody. In that time, you learn that person's track record to know if you can trust them. Because in that time, you can then see their character. In that time, you can then see their ability. Do they have the time? Is there distance involved? Is there a busy schedule involved? Is there, other friends, and just that ability thing. Then you can also see over time, going backwards again, what is their motive and intent? Are they a giver or a taker? And then you can see also, is there an understanding for who you are? You learn that over time, don't you? Following that track record. So here comes our conversation question. We're going to go back to givers and takers. We had this conversation on February 7th. You can check out that conversation right here. It was a really good one. How to define who's a giver and who's a taker in friendship. If you were with us for that series, you may still be thinking about that one, because it helps you make some discernment sense out of some of your friendships that just feel a little bit off, because they're probably more of a taker than they ever can have the capacity or the ability to be a giver. So this is the question, and I hope you gather with people to have this conversation, is to discern a giver and a taker, what tips have you learned? Have that conversation. Oh, when we did this as a church, we had really, 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 really good tips passed on. I hope you had this opportunity to do this with your people, because, again, trust is a big issue, and these tips were so practical and so wise that it really helped. So I hope you had that kind of a conversation. I want to pass on one tip from Dr. Henry Cloud that my group didn't come up with either, so I want to pass this on to you, is if you have a relationship that has been giving but has maybe gone a little bit off course or a little bit awry, and this person's become a taker, maybe because life has smashed that person, or something's going on that you don't know about, or your friendship's in a rut. Dr. Henry Cloud has a great piece of advice here I want to pass on, is if you're going to continue in this relationship, to have it be a trusted relationship, there needs to be some sort of agent of change in action here. Something outside of the two of you has got to change. So let me just use this as an example here. Say my husband John and I, we are in a marriage rut, and we have a very giving relationship towards each other, but then we rut and it becomes taking, and we start keeping score with, well, I did this and you didn't do that. And okay, we become into a taker type of relationship, and that's not good, right? So the new source of energy that we need is marriage counseling. It's an outside force to push us back into a safe, giving relationship. So your friendship, your marriage, your relationships, your small group, whatever, there must be some kind of an outside source. It could be a coach, supervisor, counselor, peer coach, accountability partner to come in and to push this relationship back into a giving relationship. This is how you can know you can trust someone. And this is what this is about tonight, right? If this friendship is so valuable that someone's going to seek to go to counseling for themselves, for this whatever has smashed them and has caused them to be cold or walls up towards you, but they've decided to go to counseling for themselves, you can trust this person. You can stay in this relationship and go through the dry season, but you see some hope there. But if they are stuck, and they might blame you, or they might demand a lot out of you, and why don't you do this for me? And you have this track record with them, this time together, but something's off and you're feeling used and disrespected and unappreciated, and there's not this new energy that they're bringing in to help them grow, this relationship might be over. Something to think about. Now also, someone who has a moral code, this also matters a lot in trusted relationships. They have to have the same values at you at some point, and somewhere along the way. And let me explain it to you this way. There's a slide here. This is very core to our church. It's concentric circles. And you will see that in the center is the cross. And what I mean by that cross is this is Jesus. This is his birth, death, resurrection. This is non-negotiable in our church. We believe Jesus is our Savior. He was born of a virgin, died, resurrected, and is living, waiting for us to return us to him at that end times. This is non-negotiable. The next circle out is dogma. This is also pretty much non-negotiable. These are our dogmas that we believe in. We believe in the Bible as authority. We believe in communion. We believe in baptism. Stuff like that. The next circle out is doctrine. Now this has some wiggle room. This has some negotiations. We as a church, we practice full immersion baptism. That's what we believe. Not every church does. This is okay. It's negotiable. For communion, we believe in memorialism. We take communion together. We're over the miles because we meet over Zoom. Some people will have a Cheez-It. Some people will have unleavened bread. For us, it's a memorialism of the body of Christ. For other churches, that's not enough. They practice like transubstantiation. Fine with that. It's in that concentric circle. And the outer ring is opinion. This stuff stays out there. It is not going to shape our church. If you believe that opinion, I can have my opinion. I love you, you love me. We believe that core ring about Jesus. We believe in the dogma of this church, how we are practicing out our faith in this way of Jesus. And then we have these doctrines that kind of shape how we practice. And then your opinion. If we disagree, we disagree. Okay. You can use the same concentric circle model when it comes to your moral code. And this is for you to work on. This will be your moral code. It's not going to be my moral code because we're going to have different morals, right? Different important things. But I suggest you do this work. What is in the dead center? This is non-negotiable. These are the important things of friendship that you have learned over time. And you're going to look for people on your life team that have these core values no matter what. Everybody on your life team has to have these core values. Then you have the dogma circle, but this is going to be the things that are also non-negotiable, and they help define your core values there. Then the next circle out, these are going to be your values that are negotiable. I would like my life team members to have this, but if they don't, but they're close in their belief in this, it's okay. And then this fourth circle is opinion. This is your moral code where you're like, okay, I don't agree with you on that, but you can be on my life team because of all these things in the center circle. You see? So I really suggest you do the work to create your moral code using this concentric circle models, because it will help you see who can be on your life team that can be trusted. And that's where we're going with this tonight. Who can you trust to be on your life team? I hope I've given you loads of practicality so you can make your life team, because again, we need people. People are part of our spiritual formation, and we're co-regulating each other anyway. How about we find those kind of people to co-regulate with and grow, become better human beings, and bless this world? How about that? So for the benediction, I want to read to you a parable that I just love. It's not in the Bible, but it sure is cute. Are you ready? A young boy was walking with his father along a country road. When they came across a very large tree branch, the boy asked, "Do you think I could move that?" His father answered, "If you use all your strength, I'm sure you can." The boy tried mightily to lift, pull, and push the branch, but he couldn't budge it. Discouraged, he said, "Dad, you were wrong. I can't do it." His dad said, "Try again." This time, as the boy struggled with the task, his father joined him. Together they pushed the branch aside. "Son," the father said, "the first time you didn't use all your strength. You didn't ask me to help." Got it? People are a part of our spiritual formation. They are your strength to make you the best you can be. Challenged? I hope so. I'll see you again.